Yo, 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 what's going on, y'all? Thanks for tuning in to DFJ Hoops. As always, I'm your host, Andre, and we're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to be talking about the top point guards in the NBA. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So, in case you just came in, make sure you hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. It's DFJ Hoops, and also don't forget to hit the bell notification to notify you every single time I go live or every single time I drop a video on this channel. Let's get this rocking. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be talking about the top 10 point guards in the NBA. And I was talking about Tyrese Maxey and him, whether he was a top 5 point guard or not. So that's what triggered me to make this live and, rank my players and, give my criteria and how I rank these players. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, first of all, some players are going to be left out. Some point guards are going to be left off this list. It's not personal. It's just my logic and my criteria. I just have to be consistent with it. So no personal feelings, no biases, no nothing. I just have to stick to my criteria and rank these players. So, first of all, shout out to each person tuning in. Shout out to Bruce. Appreciate you, Bruce, for being in here. Appreciate you for being in here. Shout out to my guy Casual. If y'all haven't subbed to his channel, y'all should go check him out. I think it's a Casual Connection. That's his channel name. Y'all should go sub to him. I'm gonna start with the honorable mention. So a few guys are not gonna make the list, for obvious reasons. So number one, James Harden, honorable mention. Very good point guard. One of my favorite players, but he didn't make he didn't make the cut. And it's not anything personal because he left my team. But I just think that other guys on this team had better impact, had better numbers, and overall they had better overall they had better impact on their team, as far as team win and team success. When I say team success, I don't necessarily mean, going to the finals and winning the championship. I just mean, your ability to help the teams win games. So not necessarily a championship. So, shout out to Harden, shout out to Drew Holiday. He didn't make the cut, but, honorable mention. And also shout out to Darius Garland for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Shout out to him. Now, there are 2 point guards who I think are going to have very good seasons next year, and number one is Cade Cunningham. I think he'll have a solid not a rookie. I mean, he's heading into his 4th season, so he's going to have a solid season with the new team that the Detroit Pistons have. Now, I'm not saying he's going to make the All NBA team or make an All Star team, but I think next year will be his breakout season. So yeah, that's Cade Cunningham, and the second is the rookie in Houston. Reed Shepherd. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins Rookie of the Year. So shout out to Reed Shepherd. Let me just start and talk about this list. So I'm gonna start from 10, and then I'm gonna work my way all the way up to number 1. And 10 on my list is Ja Morant. Now I want y'all to hear me out. I know how good Ja is, but him not playing a lot of games last year is why I have him number 10. I mean, he only played 9 games in the regular season. He was dealing with the suspension, and then he came in, and then he broke his hand, or I don't know if he tore his shoulder up, but he was dealing with the injury, and then he was subsequently ruled out for the rest of the season. So, because of the sample size, that's why I have him at 10. If he played enough games, or if he was in the playoffs and he had some decent production, I probably would have had him a lot higher than I have him right now. But as of right now, I just have him number 10 on my list. And I mean, we know Ja Morant's game. I mean, Ja Morant's a very, explosive guard. In the games that he played in, he averaged 25, 5, and 8. So, those are good numbers on pretty much good efficiency. He had a 57% true shooting percentage. So that's good. That's good efficiency and good numbers right there. But the sample size is just too small. You just can't compare him to guys playing 60 plus games and 70 plus games. So, I really factor in, games played when I rank these players. So, playing 9 games it's just not, the sample size is just too small. But I mean, breaking down Ja Morant's game, I mean, he's an elite scorer. He can generate a ton of rim pressure. He has the ability to, go to the basket, finish with either hand. Despite him being 6'2", 6'3", being a small guard, he's pretty quick. He's very, very quick. He adds his speed, his athleticism, and his ability to control his body to get to the basket. And sometimes he's able to finish over bigger defenders. We've seen him finish over defenders like Valanciunas and big defenders. Even Wembanyama. So in the limited games that he played in last season, when he played against the San Antonio Spurs, there was a couple plays where he was blowing past Wemby and he was getting to the basket even before Wemby could recover. So he can finish over bigger defenders. But I think one thing that he needs to work on, and I think everybody else will agree with me, he needs to work on his pull-up shooting. Right? He's not a very good shooter, from the 3-point line. He has seasons where he's shooting way below league average, especially from the 3-point line. He has seasons where he's shooting below the average. So I think that's one thing he has to work on. I mean, he can get to the basket. So if he can add, a stop and pop game, where he's able to stop on a dime and, pull up and shoot over the defender or shoot over whoever's contesting the shots, and he's able to make those shots consistently, I think he'll be a much better, he'll be a way bigger threat than he currently is right now. I mean, if you look at his percentages, last season, I'm not really going to factor in last season. I mean, he only shot 27% from the 3-point line, but the 2 seasons prior, he was shooting 34% and 30% from the 3, respectively. And he's not really a high volume 3-point shooter, right? He's attempting 5 threes and 4 threes. So if he can shoot close to 37 or 38%, that'll make him much more lethal as a shooter. And I mean, in the 2s, he was shooting. He shot 55%, from the 2, but I mean, a lot of those were dunks and layups. But in terms of his jump shots, in the mid range or his jump shots from 10 to 16 feet, he was not so efficient in those areas. So I think that's where his improvements need to come in. And I heard he's working on his game. I heard he's been working so hard on his game this offseason. So I wouldn't be surprised if he came in and was a much better shooter than he has been in the past 2 seasons. But I mean, we know how good Ja Morant is. The Grizzlies were back-to-back second seeds off the strength of him. Now, I'm not going to say he was the sole contributor, but he definitely contributed to that team and was one of the biggest reasons why they were a top 2 team in the tough Western Conference for back-to-back seasons. Now, they didn't really have any playoff success because the first time they went up against the Golden State Warriors and Ja Morant got hurt. So when he got hurt, it was pretty much impossible for them to win, even though I felt like Golden State would have won anyway because Steph Curry was just on a different planet, in a different realm that season. Because I don't know if you guys remember the season prior, the Memphis Grizzlies had eliminated the Golden State Warriors from the play-in tournament. So Steph Curry came in the next season with redemption, right? He had vengeance in his eyes, and he was willing to take out the Memphis Grizzlies. So hurt or not hurt, I don't think they had a chance. But the next season, that's where they dealt with a ton of injuries, right? The 22-23 season, getting into the playoffs, that's where they dealt with a ton of injuries. Steven Adams was hurt. Brandon Clark had an Achilles injury, and then Ja Morant broke his hand in the playoffs. So that season they had injuries. They dealt with injuries. Bruce says he's working on his shooting. Yeah, I mean, BJ told me that, right? BJ knows somebody who's closer to Ja Morant, and he said that. So if I'm lying, then he was lying as well. But yeah, as far as I know, he's working on his shooting. So he's adding something to his game. And I think defensively, he could be a much better defender than he is right now. I mean, his quickness, his fast hands allows him to play in the passing lane. So he's able to get steals that way. But I think his ability to be an on-ball defender could be a lot better, especially with his quickness, with his athleticism. He can, he can pretty much stay in front of some of these small guards and, affect them and make it very, very difficult for them. So that's another area where I think he can improve his game at. So, yeah, I have Ja Morant number 10, and it's not I don't think it's disrespectful, but, the limited amount of sample size is why I'm putting him at 10. Now, number 9, God forgive me, Sixer fans forgive me, Tyrese forgive me, but I think number 9 is Maxey. Now, I heard some Sixer fans saying that he's a top 5 point guard. No, let's not Let's not do that. I mean, who knows? It was probably a one season wonder that he had last year. Who knows? So he has to show us again that the season he had last was not a fluke. So I have him at number 9. And like I said in my live yesterday, I don't think it's disrespectful because I mean in year 4, for a point guard who's not even a lottery pick to be a top 10, to be considered a top 10 point guard in year 4, that's giving you a lot of praise in my opinion. So Tyrese Maxey, I mean, we know playing with Joel Embiid, he has the luxury to play with a top 5 player in the NBA. So you can see that things come to him pretty easier sometimes, even though he's worked on his game and he's improved his game very, very well. Especially if you look at his numbers from his rookie season to second year, you can see how he improved his game, especially shooting the basketball. I think in his rookie season, he was shooting like 32 or 33% from the 3-point line. And then he came in the second season and then he was shooting, I think he was shooting like 43 or 42%. Yeah, so yeah, his rookie season he shot 30%, and then his second season he shot 43%. So that's the improvement that he made right there. And if I'm not mistaken, he was top 3 in 3-point percentages. I think Luka was first, Desmond Bane was second, and then Tyrese Maxey was third. So he improved his game, in terms of shooting the ball. He added a lot to his game. He worked on his handles. He worked on, breaking down his defenders off the dribble, getting into the lane, finishing with both hands, absorbing contact, taking contact, and not letting the contact bother his shot. Now, unfortunately for him, he's not, he's not getting some of these superstar whistle calls, right? He's not getting Trae Young's whistle. He's not getting the whistle that, some of these other guards that I have on the list get. So sometimes he doesn't really get to the free throw line as much, but I mean, with his ability, with his speed and his quickness, his craftiness as well, as long along with his creativity. I mean, I think Maxey could be even much better if he worked on his playmaking ability. I think that's one thing that he needs to work on. Now, Maxey's a scoring point guard. He's not a facilitating point guard. He's not a distributor. So some things do not come as natural to him. But I believe if he continues to put the work in, if he continues to work on his, his passing, his playmaking ability, and and his ability to find guys in transition, I think that will help his game very, very well. Now we know he's very, very good in transition, just like Ja Morant is very, very good in transition. His speed and his quickness. I mean, when he gets that ball off the rebound, he's a grab and go. He's a grab and go guy sometimes. So when he gets the ball off the rebound, he can turn on the jets, and at that point, catch him if you can, like the gingerbread man. He's very, very quick. He can get to the basket with some of the best of them. And if you're not quick getting back, Maxey's gonna get a lot of easy buckets like that. So, yeah, like I said, his weaknesses, playmaking, his on-ball defense is also a weakness to him. So those are things that he has to work on to take his game even to the next level. Now he's able to play in the passing lanes. He's able to get steals like that. So that's some form of defense, but that's not the best form of defense in my opinion. But I mean, coming for somebody who's a little guard, I mean that's one of the values they can give you defensively, playing in the passing lanes. Now he averaged one steal a game last season. So that's what that's the value he gave you defensively, with his off-ball defense. So Maxey could be much better. And, I think with the addition of Paul George, along with Embiid being healthy, I think Maxey will definitely be a better passer than he was last season. I think last season was his first season. So those were some, he was learning that season, right? He was learning last season. So I think he's going to use his experiences from last season, and he's going to be a much better playmaker this season. Now, scoring, I don't have any issue. I don't think anybody has any issues. He's a 3-tier scorer. He can score at the basket, score in the mid-range, and he can score from the 3-point line, right? He's one of the best catch and shoot 3-point shooters in the league. So as a scorer, I don't think we have any issues with him. But the playmaking and the defense, that's where that's where the development needs to come from. So shout out to Maxey, number 9 on my list. I don't hate you, but I think being top 10, that's me giving you props, right? So shout out to Maxey. And Sixer fans, if y'all see this, please don't get mad. It's not anything personal. I just think that there are 8 guys on this list that impact their team way better than a Tyrese Maxey. I mean, when we saw Maxey, if Maxey has to be the first option, we saw what that looked like when he was not playing with Embiid, and it was not pretty sometimes. When the defense were able to focus on him, and when the defense shut down his water, we saw how difficult it was for the Sixers. So, playmaking is one thing that he has to work on. All right, moving on. Number 8 on my list, Trae Young. Now, some people are going to agree. Some are going to disagree. I mean, I'm hearing people saying that Trae Young is a top 5 point guard in the NBA, which me personally, I disagree with, right? I think there are 5 guys who bring much better value and impact their team in other ways than a Trae Young, right? But I have no idea given Trae Young number 8. And, we know what he's capable of doing offensively. With his ability to score. I mean, he's a 3-tier scorer himself. Has his shooting ability, his range is just ridiculous, right? He has Steph Curry-esque range. Now, he's not a good shooter as Steph Curry. I'm not going to go as far as to say that, but his range is, you can put it up there with some of the best of them. And his ability to get in the lane, his ability to play make, some of the passes that he makes sometimes, I'm very, very surprised because somebody that size should not be making that passes, right? Because you don't really get to see the floor from that point of view because he's not very big, so he's not able to see the floor. But he's still able to impact the game in other ways with his passing, with his playmaking, and with his shooting ability. It makes it very, very difficult for defenders to guard him sometimes. And sometimes you have to guard him way past the 3-point line because he can make you pay from any side on any spot on the floor, from the 3-point line, or sometimes when he gets in the lane, he's very, very crafty, so he can finish with floaters, left hand, right hand, finish with up and unders, finish with some reverse layups. I mean, Trae Young is very, very versatile offensively, with his scoring ability, his playmaking ability, and his ability to pass. Now, he's also good in the pick and roll situations, right? We see him work pick and rolls with Clint Capella, and Clint Capella is able to get a lot of lobs off of Trae Young's gravity, right? Because defenses have to keep an eye on him. So you see Clint Capella getting a lot of dunks. Onyeka Okongwu, hope I said that right. You see him get a lot of dunks as well as Jalen Johnson, who I'm very high on Jalen Johnson. I think Jalen Johnson will be one of the best young players in the very near future. So I think y'all should keep an eye on him. So Trae Young is able to use his ability, his playmaking ability to create offense for his teammates. Now, we all know what his weakness is, right? His shot selection sometimes and his defense. Now, the defense part, I mean, he's 5'11", 6 foot, 6'1". He's very, very small, not as strong as some of these guys on the floor. So there's so much that he can do defensively, and especially when he's your on-ball defender, you gotta send help, right? You gotta send help because guys are gonna take advantage of him every single time. And we see teams, try to, target him, in pick and roll situations, try to get him on the island because he's very, very vulnerable in situations like that. He's not the best defender or one of the best perimeter defenders, on-ball defenders. So you don't really get to see him, impose as well on the game from that point of view. So I think that's his weakness. Can he work on it? I don't think so because he's just undersized. So there's nothing he can do to overcome that. So I think if you're his coach, the best thing to do is, to just send help because that's the best thing you could do because teams are definitely going to target him every single time. Now, off the ball, I mean, he's able to get steals sometimes, right? He's very, very fast, so he's able to play in the passing lanes. I think most of the point guards on my list, most of these guys are able to play in the passing lane, so they're able to get or rack up steals like that or in that fashion, especially in the weak side corner. So that's it. Most of these guys, that's their value defensively, but others are good on-ball defenders who I'm going to get to in a few minutes. So, but I think Trae Young is one of the best, one of the best passers, one of the best offensive weapons that we have in the NBA currently. I mean, he gave you just last season only, he gave you 26 points, average, I think 10 assists. Yeah, 10.9, 10.8 assists, on pretty good efficiency from the field. So um, I don't think Trae Young. I don't think Trae Young is a top 5 point guard, but I'll definitely give him top 10. He's number 8 on my list. So shout out to the Hawks. They missed the playoffs, but I don't think it's Trae Young's fault because when he's on the floor, the Hawks' offense, their offense is way better when he's on the floor rather than when he's off the floor. Now, when he's on the floor, their defense is, subpar, but when he's off the floor, their defense is a lot better when he's off the floor. So I think it goes hand in hand, and we see his value offensively. And I don't think it was his fault why the Atlanta Hawks missed the playoffs. I think Atlanta, the front office didn't really do a good job, surrounding him with, good enough talent. After they made the Eastern Conference Finals, the next seasons were pretty mediocre, and the only moves that they made was to trade for DeJounte Murray. They didn't really surround him with good enough quality pieces to help him contend in the Eastern Conference. And the Eastern Conference was getting better, right? It's getting better. Miami got better. Milwaukee got better. Boston got better. Philly got better. Even New York got better. And for whatever reason, Atlanta, they went down. So I don't think it's Trae Young's fault. I think it's the front office's fault. But yeah, shout out to Trae Young, number 8 on my list. I don't think it's disrespectful. So yeah, let's move on. Number 7 on my list, Dame time. What time is it? It's Dame time. Damian Lillard. Now I heard Bruce say that Dame is not even top 10. Nah, Bruce. Dame is definitely top 10. Now he dropped out of my top 5 last season, right? He dropped out of my top 5 because I think 2 guys overtook him. They passed him. They lapped him. So they took a spot in the top 5, and he dropped to number 7 on my list. Now, Damian Lillard, when he was with the Portland Trailblazers, we saw his value, right? A very skilled player, great offensive weapon, averaging over 30 with the Trailblazers. His last season with the Blazers, he was averaging 32 points on pretty good efficiency. And, he adds his ability to create shots along with his 3-point shooting ability. He's able to overwhelm defenses. And once he gets past half court, you gotta guard him way past the 3-point line because he has that range and he can definitely kill you from spots like that. So that was Damian Lillard. But I think when he went to Milwaukee, change of scenery, different situation, different team with different players with different skill sets. So the offense is not really revolved around him. So we didn't really get to see how effective he can be on the basketball floor. Even though sometimes we saw flashes of it, we didn't get to see it consistently. So that's why I think Dame wasn't as effective in his first season in Milwaukee, right? If you compare his numbers, it's not really looking good, especially his 3-point shooting numbers. He shot 35% from the 3-point line last season, right? The season prior, he was shooting 37% on 11 attempts, right? So he had more volume the season prior, and his percentage was way better. Last season, only 8 attempts. He was only making 35% at that clip. So I think that's something that Damian Lillard is going to have to get used to. I mean, playing alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, Giannis is in his prime, and that's Giannis's team. So the offense is going to be focused around him. So Dame is going to have to fit in with Giannis. But I think there are certain things that Doc Rivers can add to this team to make them even much more better offensively. I mean, I think he should utilize Dame and Giannis more in the pick and roll. He should use Dame's shooting ability, especially in transition, because Giannis is a very good transition player. So if you add Giannis's ability to get to the rim and his passing ability to, find open shooters, I mean, he can definitely find Dame, and Dame can use his off-ball value in transition situations like that, and they can get a lot of quick trigger threes. So I think those are 2 things that we need to see from the Milwaukee Bucks next season. But I mean, I bumped Dame down on my list because other guys were much more impactful, much more effective. Other guys elevated their games, like a Haliburton, like a Jalen Brunson, who we're gonna get to in a few minutes here. But yeah, Dame is definitely top 10 on my list. He's 7, but I think this upcoming season, he's gonna have a much better season than he did last year. So he'll definitely make the All-Star team again. He'll probably he might make the All NBA team. Who knows? But I think next year will be much better than he did last year. So shout out to Dame, number 7 on my list. Yeah, he just got dropped out of the top 5 for me. So shout out to Damian Lillard. Oh man. All right, moving on. Number 6 on my list, De'Aaron Fox. Now, listen, it was very, very difficult for me. I mean, like I said, from 6 to 10, it was very, very difficult for me because these guys are so close to each other. The separator is not that huge between these guys, or sometimes these guys could be interchangeable. I think some people might interchange these guys a little bit. I think my top 5 is solid, but 6 through 10, that's where you might find some guys who you could, swap out or, interchange, or maybe you might even bump somebody out the top 10 totally, which I'll probably disagree with that. But I have De'Aaron Fox on my, I have him on my list as a top 10. He's number 6 on my list. And De'Aaron Fox, I mean, last season, what you call it, the Sacramento Kings, they didn't make the playoffs. Even though they had a way better record a way better record. If they were probably in the Eastern Conference, they probably make the playoffs. But I mean, it's different. The conferences is different. So if you're in the West, you just have to do what the Western Conference does. So, but I mean, looking at his numbers, he gave you 27 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists on pretty good efficiency, right? 57% true shooting percentage. So he balled out, in terms of, individually. Right now with the team, that's different because they dealt with injuries, right? Malik Monk got hurt, and I think somebody else got hurt. I can't remember. Kevin Herter, yeah, right. He was dealing with injuries too. So they had to bring some new guys to the lineup. So that kind of like messed up their chemistry. So that's why they fell out of the top 6 completely, because at some point they were a top 6 seed, right? They were a top 6 before Phoenix, I think, overtook them because the injuries that they were missing. I mean, they were missing Malik Monk, who was very, very huge to their offense, right? Coming off the bench, giving you 12, 13, 14 points per game. That's very, very huge for them. So if you're missing production like that, your team is not going to be as good, because not just anybody could replace that production. But De'Aaron Fox, if you break down his game, I mean, one of the fastest players in the game, right? One of the fastest players in the NBA. He's an elite scorer, in my opinion. He excels at getting to the basket, now thanks to his speed and his ability to finish through contact. I mean, De'Aaron Fox he's a big guard, right? He stands at 6'4", 6'5", very, very strong. So he's able to use his physical attributes to his advantage, right? He gets to the basket. He can finish with some of the best of them, finish with either hand, and absorbing contact, going away from contact, he can finish. He has that ability, right? And these past few seasons, he's added stop and pop game to his repertoire. So he's able to stop on a dime and pull up from mid range, pull up from 16 feet, pull up from 18 feet, and he's able to knock down shots. I think last 2 seasons he was the clutch player of the year, if I'm not mistaken, or he was in the conversations of clutch player of the year. So his ability to make big shots in the clutch is very, very huge. Now I didn't mention clutch for some of these guys, but I mean, we know Dame is very, very clutch. Some of these players are clutch. Trae Young is clutch. Tyrese Maxey's clutch, right? Maxey showed us that he can hit clutch shots, especially in the playoffs when the game is on the line, right? He scored 7 points in 15 seconds against the Knicks in Game 5. So that shows you how clutch he can be, right? But De'Aaron Fox is also clutch, and his offensive ability makes his team much better, right? Now his playmaking ability has gone down a little bit these past 2 seasons because the Sacramento Kings have another playmaker on that team in Domas, right? Domantas Sabonis is one of the best playmakers in the league. So De'Aaron Fox doesn't have to do as much playmaking because he has another good, if not somebody better playmaking wise than him. So he can focus on other things on the floor, like playing defense, scoring, using his scoring gravity to find open shots for his teammates, and also using his quickness to get to the basket. I think one thing that he needs to work on is his 3-point shooting, his outside shooting. I think that definitely needs some work. Last season he was 37% from the three. That's improvement, right? That's improvement from the season prior, right? So he's getting better, but I want to see consistency in that department. I want to see him get even much more better shooting threes. So yeah, but I mean his defensive abilities. I mean he's 6'4", 6'5", so he's able to play in the passing lanes. He's very very quick. He has quick hands. He's able to play in the passing lanes, and as an on-ball defender, he's able to stay in front of some of these guys, right? Because he's very 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 strong, very very fast. So and he's very very athletic as well. So he's able to keep in front of these guys. Now I think he led the league in steals last season. Yeah, he did 2 steals a game, so that led the league in steals. So that shows you his value defensively. Now, like I said, I think one thing that he needs to work on is more threes and being more consistent shooting threes. I think that will make him even much more lethal than he is right now. So, De'Aaron Fox, number 6 on my list. People might disagree with it, but I just with his versatility, I don't think you can knock him with his versatility. And like I said, I don't use team success or getting to the finals as a staple of an argument. So if you win, that's cool. But I'm just ranking these players offensively, what they're capable of doing, and how they're able to elevate their team on bigger levels. Shout out to my guy Humble Man 420. Appreciate you for being here, bro. Appreciate you. Said Bruce, you can't disrespect Dame time like yeah, Bruce be. I mean, Bruce is not the biggest Dame fan, so we get it. But to say that he's not top 10, I think Bruce is trolling. You can't name 10 point guards better than Damian Lillard. No, you can't. Dame is better than Russ. I don't care. I mean, you can, yeah. I mean, I don't think that's crazy to say. I mean, as of recent, I mean, yeah, obviously, but all time, I don't think, I don't think Russ. I mean, I don't think Dame is over Russ all time. But as of currently, yeah, yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Russell Westbrook didn't make my list, so I don't think that's a spoiler. But yeah, he didn't make my list. My boy Reed Shepard gonna be nice too, DFJ. He's a rookie on the Rockets. If you're not familiar with, oh yeah, I mean I said that 2 point guards are they're gonna have solid seasons. Now I did mention Reed Shepard. He's gonna be very very good. I'm not gonna be surprised if he wins Rookie of the Year. So yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised. And then I said Cade Cunningham. So yeah, I'm really familiar with him. He balled out in the summer league. So yeah, Reed Shepard is gonna be huge for the was it Houston? Yeah, he's gonna be huge for them. So yeah, shout out to Reed Shepard. But yeah, as y'all come and hit the like button for me, man. Now we're getting into the top 5 point guards. So yeah, the top 10. I mean the bottom 10. I mean the bottom 5. Yeah, some of those guys could be interchanged, but I'm just sticking with that. But let's get into the top 5 right now. So yeah, just like I said, as y'all come in, hit the like button for me. It's DFJ Hoops. We're ranking the top 10 point guards in the NBA. So let's get to number 5 real quick. So number 5 on the list, Tyrese Haliburton. Now, Tyrese has been getting better and better over the past few seasons. When he was with the Kings, I mean, you could see the potential, and then he got traded to the Pacers. Now the Sixers, they dropped. The Sixers could have had Tyrese Haliburton, but Daryl Morey wanted to go in a different direction, so he instead waited and traded for his favorite players in James Harden. So Sixers couldn't get a hand on Tyrese Haliburton, but I think if the Sixers had Tyrese Haliburton, it would have been huge for them because Tyrese is a very good playmaker. But let's focus on Haliburton's game, and let's break down what makes him special and why he's in my top 5 point guards. Now, Tyrese Haliburton, like I stated, he's an efficient scorer, right? He's very very efficient when he scores the basketball. Let me read this real quick. Solid pick for number 5. Yeah, yeah, so young and so much potential. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, you talking about Reed Shepard. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I got Tyrese number 5. He could. I mean, let me just let me just continue, man. You'll make me confused. But yeah, I mean, Tyrese is a very elite. I mean, he's a very elite and efficient scorer. I mean, if you look at his percentages, he's very, very efficient. Now, his 3-point percentage last season was the first time he didn't shoot over 40% from the three, right? Every season in the NBA, he shot 40%. Now, I think that one of the biggest reasons for that was he got hurt, right? He pulled his hamstring and then he had to miss a couple weeks or so. And then when he came back, he was so atrocious from the 3-point line. I mean, at some point I think he was 50, 40, 90, averaging about 12 assists, right? But I think that injury really hurt him a lot. And when he came back into the lineup, he had to work himself back up to the level that he was playing at before he got injured. So that's where we started seeing, some tour date numbers, in terms of his shooting, right? We saw a lot of 4 for, we saw a lot of 1 for 5, 2 for 6, and 1 for 8, and 2 for 9, and from the 3-point line, it was looking bad for him. And then he had like back-to-back games where he was 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. So if you add that, that's like 0 for 12 from the 3-point line. So when he came back, it was very, very, it was very, very, it was not looking good for him from the 3-point line. So I think that's what really hurt his 3-point percentage. But his other seasons, he's shooting 40, 41%, 42% from the three. So on high volume as well. I mean, shooting 5 threes and shooting 40%, that's elite in my opinion, right? But he's efficient from the field, efficient from the three for the most part, and he's a solid free throw shooter as well, shooting 84 or above from the free throw line. So he's an efficient scorer. So we'll give him that, along with his playmaking ability. Right, he's one of the best passers, one of the best playmakers in the league. Last season he took a huge step in terms of his playmaking, and he started making some passes that I wasn't even, I didn't even think he could make those passes, right? But then again, you have to look at he's 6'5", 6'6", so he has a bigger that helps his vision, right? That helps his core vision, and he's able to see the floor better than some of these smaller guards. So he's able to make some of these difficult passes, and he's able to make some of these passes a lot more easier. And with his ability to distribute the rock, he's not really averaging that many turnovers, right? I mean, he has the ball in his hands most of the time, and he's only giving you 2 assists. I mean, two turnovers, right? So the assist to turnover ratio, that right there is like a 5-1, right? So that's pretty good, right? It's pretty good assist to turnover ratio. He's not turning the ball over at a high clip, so that really helps him a lot, right? As y'all come in, hit the like button for me, man. We're talking about the top 10 point guards. I'm at number 5, and we're talking about Tyrese Haliburton, right? His playmaking ability makes him very, very unique, and his passing ability also helps him make some of these passes, right? I mean, make some of these create some of these scoring opportunities. Now he's very, very fast, very, very great in transition, and he was the lead orchestrator on the Indiana Pacers and was a huge reason why they had the best offense in the league, right? I think their offensive rating was at 120 or 122. So that right there, Tyrese Haliburton really impacted the team offensively in that aspect. And defensively, I think he could be a lot better, right? He could be a lot better. I mean, being 6'4", 6'5", right? He could definitely use his quickness. He can use his length. In passing lanes, right? He can use his length as an on-ball defender. Now he's not very quick, he's not very agile. He can't really move side to side very, very quickly. So that really hinders how good he can be as an on-ball defender. But him being in the passing lanes, I think he could be much better. He could be a much better defender, and he could be a much better rebounder as well. I mean, being 6'5", standing at 6'4", 6'5", or sometimes, closer to 6'6", I think he should be averaging more rebounds than he's averaging right now. I mean, he's only giving you 3.9, let's round it up, 4 rebounds. He can give you 5 or 6 rebounds if you really think about it. So, and that could really help their offense as well, because if you're able to limit teams to one possession and then Tyrese is obviously a grab and go guy. You can really find guys in transition a lot and not have to depend on your centers to get you the ball for you to push in transition every single time. So yeah, I think that's one of his weaknesses that he has to work on, right? That he's gonna have to work on that. And I mean, he's still young. I mean, he's in year 4, just like Maxey's in year 4. So I mean, in year 4, and you're a top 5 point guard. I mean, you're considered a top 5 point guard. I think that's definitely huge, right? So shout out to Haliburton, top 5 on my list. I don't hate the Pacers. All right, moving on. Number 4 on my list. This punk right here. Yeah, Jalen Brunson is he's number 4 on my list. Jalen Brunson is number 4 on my list. And the same argument that I use for Maxey, I have to use that same argument for him. Not being a lottery pick. I think he was a second rounder. Yeah, he was drafted in the second round by the Dallas Mavericks. Unfortunately, the Mavs didn't see his potential and what he was capable of doing. So they were not willing to give him the contract that he was asking for. And he wasn't even asking for much. So he goes to the Knicks, takes on a much bigger responsibility and a much bigger offensive role, and he has successfully thrived in that role. And last season, without Julius Randle, this guy, took on that scoring load, took on that offensive responsibility, and he was pretty good, right? He's pretty good, or way above good in my opinion. His offensive outputs was just out of this world, and he was very, very great, very, very huge for the Knicks for the most part. Now, Jalen Brunson is not the fastest guard, right? He's not very, very fast, but he's an excellent scorer with a versatile offensive game. He has good footwork for a guard, right? He's able to post up, and he's very, very strong. People don't realize Jalen Brunson is very, very strong. Being at 6'1", 6'2", he's pretty strong, and he's able to bump off defenders that try to drape all over him, right? He's able to bump you off, get you off balance, and then settle for create that separation to settle for his shots. So that's a plus for Jalen Brunson, right? He's very, very strong. Along with his footwork in the post, his footwork in the mid range, he's able to feast in areas like that. Now, just like Trae Young, now I didn't mention this about Trae Young. Just like Trae Young, Jalen Brunson gets the superstar whistle, right? He gets the superstar whistle, and sometimes he flops, but he's able to get to the line. He gets to the free throw line at a very high rate in the regular season. If I look at his free throws attempted for a guard, he's probably up there with the SGA, with the Trae Young and some of these guys in terms of their ability to get to the free throw line. So he's able to put pressure on the defense, put some players in foul trouble, and get to the free throw line, right? So that's another advantage that he has. In the regular season, he was attempting 6 free throws, and then he goes into the playoffs and he's attempting 9 free throws. So I think he elevated his game in the playoffs. And me being a Sixer fan, I absolutely saw what he was capable of doing. I mean, I already knew what he was capable of doing, right? But he took it to a whole nother level in the playoffs, this past playoffs, where he was the biggest offensive threat on that team, right? And those first 2 games, I mean, we had him in check, but he broke loose in the next 4, right? Dropping multiple 40-point games. I mean, he was taking a lot of shots in some of those games, right? Some of those games he was taking like 37, 38, 39 shots. So he was getting those points. But he was for the most part, he was efficient in the series. He was efficient, right? So he didn't just take any shots. He took the shots that were available. He took some of these shots that he thought he was capable of making, and he didn't make those shots. As y'all come in, hit the like button. Talking about the top 10 point guards in the NBA. I'm at number 4, and number 4 is this punk on the screen right here. Yeah, shout out to Jalen Brunson. But yeah, so he's a great scorer. I think he averaged like 27 or 28 points in the regular season last year. So he was a top 10 scorer in the game. Yeah, 29 points. And then he got into the playoffs and he took his scoring to a whole nother level. He averaged 32 points in that postseason run, right? And 13 games, 6 games in the first round, 7 games in the second round. So his scoring went up, right? His scoring definitely went up. Twin Sports, yeah, shout out to Twin Sports, bro. Appreciate you for being in here. He says Dame is top 10. Yeah, Dame is top 10. I have a number 7 on my list. You might disagree, but I mean, his season last year was not that great. And I think guys were much more valuable. Guys did much more, and guys took their games to a whole nother level than Damian Lillard did. So I had to elevate those guys. So that's why. But yeah, I have Dame number 7 on my list. And I'm not including, team success, whether you get to the finals or not. That's not part of my criteria. But yeah, I appreciate you for stopping by. Make sure you hit the like button, y'all. Hit the like button. So yeah, Jalen Brunson was able to, take his scoring to a whole nother level in the postseason, right? Now, we've established he's a great scorer, right? He's a very, very great scorer. And his playmaking ability as well. I don't think people focus on his ability to play make some of the passes that he makes in the playoffs against us. He was making a lot of guys better in terms of, playmaking, finding guys in transition, finding open shooters, right? Josh Hart, OG Anunoby, Isaiah Hartenstein, some of these guys. Jalen Brunson was responsible for getting these guys off offensively, and he did that to the best of his abilities. In the regular season, he was giving you 6 assists, and then he gets into the playoffs and he bumps his assist up to high numbers, right? Giving you 8 assists per game. I mean, in 13 games. So he did play make at a high level as well as score at a high level as well. So I think these combinations, make him a top 5 point guard in the NBA. Number 4 on my list. His defense is not all that great, right? He's only 6'2", so as an on-ball defender, he's not going to give you very, very much, as an on-ball defender. But I mean, in the passing lanes, he can do more, right? In the passing lanes, with his quick hands, and I think he has a 6'7", 6'8", maybe 6'9" wingspan. So, I think he has to use some of these physical attributes to the best of his abilities and impact the game, be a much better off-ball defender for his teams, right? So yeah, that's something that Jalen Brunson has to add to his game. But I mean, he's in year 6, so he's gonna get much better than he is right now. So shout out to Jalen Brunson, being a second rounder and being a top 5 guard. That's all the props in the world that you can get, right? So yeah, shout out to Jalen Brunson. Tune, it's great to see you, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's great to see. I mean, Tune was ducking. He been ducking, so yeah, he's scared. He's scared of the smoke, so he don't want no smoke. All right, man. Moving on. Number 3, and Bruce. I know you're gonna disagree with me, Bruce, but I'm sorry, man. Sorry, NBA. Sorry, Warriors fans. Sorry, Stefan, but I got Curry number 3. Listen, when I was putting this list together, it was very, very difficult, right? You have to put your personal feelings aside and go by the criteria, right? You got to put your personal feelings aside and use the criteria. You got to be much more objective. Yeah, you got to be objective. But yeah, I got Steph Curry number 3 on my list. Now, this is not an all-time list, right? So if you're about to criticize me, oh, Steph Curry's, nah, I'm not saying that the 2 guys I have ahead of him are better than him all time. That's not what I'm saying. But currently in the NBA right now, the other 2 guys that I have impact their teams much more. They have much more statistical dominance. They're very, very versatile, right? They impact the game in other ways, and they're able to give their team more. They help their teammates be a lot better. So that's why I have Steph Curry. Um, that's why I have Steph Curry number 3 on my list. I don't think it's disrespectful, but I mean, come on, he's getting up there in age. He's 30. He's gonna be 37 next year, right? He's 36 this year. 30, yeah, he's 36. So he's getting up there in age, but he's not showing any signs of slowing down. So that's why I still have him in my top 5. But I mean, we all know Steph Curry's game, right? We all know his game. The best shooter ever, right? One of the best shooters of all time. From the 3, from the mid range, even as a free throw shooter. People don't talk about his free throw shooting ability, right? He's had multiple seasons shooting 90+% from the free throw line. So I think that's something that people don't really focus on. But e- e- nah, humble. Nah, humble. I see what you're trying to do, but I had DG in my honorable mentions, right? I had him in my honorable mentions. I didn't have him. Yeah, hell no, hell no, nah. We not doing that. Nah, that's nasty, bro. That is nasty. Yeah. Yeah. So we waiting for the Cavs content, bro. We waiting for that. We is waiting for that. So I mean, at this point, y'all can definitely sign Marcus Morris because I don't think we need him. So y'all can go ahead and bring him back. Yeah. He said Steph not one. There's hope. DG still in there. Let's go. Yeah, DG's not. Unfortunately, he's not gonna make the list. He ain't gonna make the list. But I mean, yeah, as I was saying, I mean, Steph Curry has a great shooting ability, right? Along with his handles, his creativity, right? I think Steph is definitely top five in being uh, he's top five as a shot creator, and he's top five in handles as well. I mean, Steph Curry, great shooter. You can shoot off the catch, shoot coming off the screen, and he can shoot off the dribble as well. And he's a threat. Once he gets past half court, you gotta keep an eye on him because his range is just ridiculous, and he can pull up from almost everyone on the floor. Right, he can pull up from anyone on the floor, and he can make you pay for it. Right, and his off ball game should also be focused on, right? His ability to move off the ball, and create some easy looks for his teammates. Now, funny enough, I was watching some games in the past from Steph Curry against the Cavs in the finals, and some of his teammates were getting some wide easy looks at the basket because when he comes off that screen, he breaks down the defense, and then the next thing you know, the center and the primary defenders following him to the 3-point line. And then what you know is Draymond Green, easy pass into the paint to JaVale McGee, easy dunk. Easy pass into the paint to Iguodala, easy dunk. Easy pass into the paint to Pachulia, easy dunk. Right, so that shows you his ability, his scoring gravity to a point where sometimes you're gonna have to have two guys covering him because guys miss their defensive assignments, and because Steph is that good of a threat, you can't just leave him out there on single coverage because he can he can make shots, right? He can make shots. He can make some difficult shots as well, and he's also clutch. People don't give him credit for his ability to show up in the clutch, but I'm gonna use recency bias and give Stephen Curry some credit over here. I mean, in the Olympics, in the gold medal game, we saw him hit four threes, and that last three that he hit over over Batum and over the newest Sixer player, Yabusele. These guys were trying to get the ball out of his hands, and he still was able to create just enough separation to get the shot, just to get the shot off, and he made that shot. So that right there showed you that he was very, very clutch. Right, he made shots when it mattered. He made shots when they counted. So I think people should give him credit in that department, and he has a very, very high basketball IQ as well, right? Sometimes his defense is in question, and he's not the most strongest guy on the floor, so sometimes that's his disadvantage. But I think he's a lot stronger than he once was, and with his ability to be very, very fast, he plays in the passing lanes. Um, in case y'all forgot, Steph Curry has led the league in steals before, right? So he's showing you that he can give you some value on the defensive side of the floor, in terms of his off ball defense. But as an on ball defender, I mean, we all know teams target him because he's not the most quickest quickest defender on the floor. He's not a good defender, and he's very, very he's not strong enough. So if you target him, you can go at him multiple ways. But Golden State, sometimes they're very, very smart, so they are able to hide him. They do a very good job hiding him and not letting him be vulnerable to switches. So yeah, you got to give the coaching staff some props, and you got to give the defenders on the team some props as well. Now, yeah, they missed the playoffs, but let's not forget they had a lot of inconsistencies in the lineup, right? Inconsistencies, guys being in and out the lineups with injuries. Draymond Green getting suspended here and there, got suspended twice, if I'm not mistaken. And then Klay Thompson had some good games, and he had not so good games. So yeah, I think those really, really hurt his chances to help his team make it into the playoffs. But I mean, he finished the season as a He finished the season making third team All NBA. So that shows you. I mean, that shows you his value to the team. He's able to impact his team. I mean, the Golden State Warriors won't even be a play-in team without Steph Curry, right? Now, if they have their team intact, they probably have a shot to make the playoffs. But yeah, I have Steph number 3. Steph Curry's number 3. It's no disrespect, but other guys are doing more. Curry, Luka, Dame, Brunson, D Fox, SGA, John Morant, Drew Holiday, winning bias, right? Winning bias. That's why you have Drew Holiday top 10. But let's go ahead. Tyrese Haliburton, Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray, or Harden, top 10. Bro, Tuna Sports, there is no logic that you can give me right now that will have Damian Lillard top 5, especially with the season he had last season. There's no logic that you can give me that he's top 5. The only thing you could say is reputation. That's the only way he's probably top 5. But off the season he had last year, ain't no way he's top 5, bro. No, Kyrie's crazy. Kyrie plays shooting guard, so I mean I have him as a shooting guard. So yeah, when I do my top 10 shooting guards, we might see him on the list. We might not see him on the list. I mean, I'm not the biggest Kyrie fan, but I mean, my list is not based on feelings. My criteria is very, very consistent. So yeah. At no point in Kyrie's career was he ever better than Steph Curry. Nope. Now in the playoff series, yeah, I'll give you that. But y'all be playing that injury. Y'all be using injury. So I'm going to use that same logic, and I'm going to use that same injury excuse for Steph Curry. He tore his MCL. That's why he got outplayed in the finals. But at no point was Kyrie Irving ever better than Steph Curry. And you can't give me any logic to support that. There's no logic you can give me to support that. Steph Curry was looked at as the best point guard in the NBA. Kyrie Irving at no point in his career was he the best point guard in the NBA. So, Tuna Sports, we not doing that, bro. But let me move on. I mean, let me get to these 2 guys on the list. Number 2, SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Now, I was getting cooked on Instagram a few years back. I mean, not a few years back, probably last season, because the first season where he averaged 30, I was calling him a one-season wonder. I was saying he can't repeat that. He can't make first team All NBA. And then at the end of this season, yeah, he shut me up. He shut me up. He did what he did last season. I mean, the season prior, he did that last season, and he even did more. What did he do more? He was able to impact his team in a much different way, and they were able to be the first seed in the Western Conference, and they went into the playoffs the first time since 2020, right? So you definitely got to give him credit because of that. I look at Kyrie as a 2, but if he's not, he would be my top 10 for sure. Yeah. I look at Kyrie as a 2. Yeah. Off his rep. Yeah, that's where y'all get it confused. I'm not ranking these guys based off of rep. Right? I'm not ranking these guys based off of rep. So yeah. He said, let's not act like Dame wasn't sending dudes home. He was. I mean, he was. In the first round, he was, but after those first round series, what else did he do? I mean, he got to the conference finals, and Steph Curry demolished them. I think Steph Curry averaged like 15 more points than Damian Lillard in that West Finals in 2019. I'm not looking at the stats, but I think Steph Curry averaged like 36, and Damian Lillard was averaging like 22, 23 points. Steph Curry demolished them, destroyed them. Kyrie owned Curry in the finals. I don't care. Right, that is true. I'm not fighting that, but just like I said, bro, you'll be using injuries, so I'm gonna use that same injury. Oh, now Dame was hurt. Get out of here, bro. You'll be using injuries. So okay, the injury excuse that you just used for Damian Lillard, I'm gonna use that same injury excuse for Steph Curry because he was dealing with injuries, right? He tore his MCL in that first round against the Houston Rockets. So yeah, I'm gonna use that excuse for what you go for Steph Curry. So yeah, there we go. It balances out. Yeah, chemical equation balances each other out. Donovan Mitchell was robbed for All NBA first team. I think he didn't play enough games. That's why he didn't play enough games. Yeah, I think you got to play 65 or more games, and he didn't meet the he didn't get to the threshold. So that's why Dame was hurt. Man, I don't want to hear about no injuries, bro. When Embiid is hurt, you don't give him that injury excuse, bro. Dame ran into the playoffs. I mean, ran into the Warriors. Period. Nobody was getting through. Nobody was getting through the Bay. That is true. Nah, we're not doing that. No, Kevin Durant was not on the team in 2019. So if Dame was so great, why you couldn't outplay Steph Curry? At no point was Damian Lillard ever better than Steph Curry. And that 2019, that playoff run, it just made it even much stronger. At no point was he better than him. So yeah, yeah. Tune in. Well, I see what you're trying to do there, but yeah. Let me, speaking of SGA, like I said, he shut me up. He made first team All NBA, averaged 30, right? Led his team to the playoffs, and he showed me he showed a lot this season that I thought he was capable of doing. Right now, he's an elite scorer. I mean, averaging 30 points per game. I mean, you got to be an elite scorer, right? But in back-to-back seasons, right? He's a high volume shooter, right? But he doesn't really take a lot of threes. Most of his shots is inside the arc, and he's a mid-range assassin. And in Game 4 against the Dallas Mavericks, that's where I was really impressed, right? In Game 4, he was just killing them in the mid-range, right? Just easy fundamentals, and he's not the quickest guard on the floor. He's not very, very quick, but he's able to get to his spots. He's able to use fakes. He's able to use his footwork, and his ability to draw fouls, right? We definitely have to include that. He's able to get to the line, and he's able to score points that way. He's attempting 9 free throws in the regular season, and then when he got into the playoffs, I mean, that 9 it got to 8. But the point I'm trying to make here is that he's able to get to the free throw line, and he's able to score points that way. He's able to put guys in foul trouble, right? So that's his scoring ability, and he's a very, very good playmaker as well. He's not on the level of some of these guys in terms of playmaking, but he playmakes at a very, very good rate. I think him and Josh Giddey, they had the playmaking responsibility. So he didn't have to do as much playmaking, right? He had to, score points, play defense. And, from time to time, with Josh Giddey off the floor, then he raises his playmaking ability. And that's where he's able to get guys easy shots, right? He's able to use his gravity, right? Because defenses have to pay attention to him because he's very, 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 he's very smooth. He can get to the basket, and he's very, very lethal. So he's able to use that gravity to his advantage, and he's able to get guys easy shots, get guys, going, get guys scoring opportunities. Isaiah Joe and Lou Dort, he's able to find those guys easy shots in the corner, right? So that's what he's capable of doing. And defensively, I mean, he's 6'6", 6'7". So guys are not. Now people say he purposely lets guys blow past him so he can get a steal, which sometimes it is true, but sometimes he's able to hold his own on an island, and he's able to keep guys in front of him. He's 6'6", 6'7", so that really helps him. Has a longer or larger wingspan, so that helps him that gives him an ability to recover when he gets beat off the dribble. So that really helps him. Now I think he can be a much better rebounder as well, right? I mean, being 6'6", 6'7", being one of the biggest guards, I want to see him get like 5, 6 or 7 rebounds, right? So I think that should be the next jump that he takes. I want to see him as a much better rebounder next season, and that's SGA. Very, very great, good scorer around the rim. Has great touch. Can finish with either hand. Has sweet. He knows the sweet spots on the glass, and he's able to get to his spots in the mid range, in the mid post, and he's able to punish mismatches underneath the basket. So SGA number 2. I don't think that's crazy. I mean, back to back, I take making first team All NBA very, very seriously, right? To me, it's a big deal. It's that big of a deal to me. So if you're able to make it like in back to back seasons, I mean, I said that was a 1 season wonder. That was a fluke. and he proved me wrong. So he shut me up. So I had no choice but to give him his props. So shout out to SGA, one of the best guards in the NBA. Probably, people thought he was an MVP last season, even though I thought that punk Jokic deserved it. But yeah, SGA, he'll probably be in the MVP conversations next season, and he'll probably take his game to a whole nother level next season. So I'm waiting to see his growth in terms of getting more rebounds. So shout out to SGA. He says SGA hasn't done anything. What do you mean? Making first team All NBA in back-to-back seasons is not doing anything. Taking your team to the playoffs is not doing anything. Leading your team to the first record in the Western Conference is not doing anything. Bro, what are you talking about? Averaging 30 in back-to-back seasons is not doing anything. Bro, what are you talking about? He's done the same thing that punk Donovan Mitchell did. Average 30 and get bounced in round 2. And SGA is much younger, so he has more room to grow. Number 1 is no other than the Dawn, Baby Bird, Luka Magic. Like, he has a lot of nicknames, but number 1 on my list, Luka Doncic. Right? I don't think anybody should disagree. I mean, if you disagree with me, I don't know what's wrong with you, bro. Come on, bro. Like, what more can he do? I mean, he's the best point guard in the league, right? 5 straight years, first team All NBA. Come on, bro. Multiple seasons, averaging 30 plus. Let's talk about his scoring. Let's break down the scoring, right? Not the quickest player on the floor, right? Not the fastest, not the quickest, right? But he's able to add his ability to get to the basket. His shot creation is, at a very, very high level. His combinations of, the step back, that patented step back, fakes, and, his ability to accelerate and decelerate, that really allows him to get to the basket, finish over bigger defenders. I mean, he's big himself. He's 6'6", 6'7". So the defenses that overwhelm some of these guards are not going to overwhelm Luka, because he can definitely take that contact, right? He can finish through contact. He can get to the free throw line, even though he's not that great of a free throw shooter. I think that's an area that he has to work on. But he's able to get to the basket with some of the best of them. And nobody scores so effortlessly than this guy on the screen. I mean, there's a reason why he has one of the highest point per possessions in the NBA. I think Embiid had that, but Embiid did not play enough games, so Embiid was not able to, sustain that. So Luka had the highest point per possession. Yeah. I got Luka. Regular season success. Listen, it takes a team to win a championship, right? It takes a team to win a championship. And I didn't even realize this until I think a few days ago. I was thinking about this. Jokic was the same player, right? Jokic was the same player in 2022. He won the MVP, right? He led his team to the playoffs. They got bounced in round 1, right, by the Golden State Warriors. But who did he have in that backcourt? He had Will Barton, Monte Morris. I don't know if those guys are in the league. Monte's still in the league, but Will Barton is not in the league anymore. But he had Monte Morris and Will Barton, and they get bounced in round 1. Now, what happens the next year? The next year, Jamal Murray comes back from injury because he tore his ACL, and then in that offseason, they traded for KCP. And guess what? Guess where they went? They went all the way to the NBA Finals. And Jokic was the same player, right? He was the same player, but with the addition of those, I mean, when they exchanged that backcourt for Jamal Murray and then KCP, guess what? They're able to go to the finals and they win the championship. But Jokic was still the same player, though. So I think if you have better teammates, your chances of winning, it goes significantly up. It gets much, much higher than, just regular players. So I don't think we should use, team success, going to the finals. I mean, I don't have Luka as the best point guard because he went to the finals. I'm just breaking down his game, his value, and his impact on his team, right? His versatility as well. his basketball IQ as well, right? Even though he does have flaws, we're going to talk about everything. I never seen Curry cry like Luka. Yes, he did. When he blew that 3-1 lead, he cried. What are you talking about? And I saw one time Steph Curry almost had a fight with the officials. It was against the Clippers in 2022. Terrence Mann fouled him, right? And they didn't call it. And he almost had a fight with the officials because they didn't call a foul. Y'all can go look up that game. That was a game where he hit like multiple threes, and then he did that that technical foul to the referees. I don't know, BJ. Yeah, I see BJ in the chat. Shout to the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. I don't know if y'all remember that game, but Steph Curry almost threw hands with the officials. He almost put hands on the officials because they didn't call a foul for him. So let's not act like some of these guys don't get pissed off when they don't get no foul calls, because they get pissed off. And right, that's everybody, right? When you get fouled and it's not called, sometimes you get out of character sometimes, right? So yeah, I'll just put it that way. We seen Curry throw a couple mouth guards. Exactly. Oh, that was TuneIn Sports. Yeah, I thought that was Humble that said that. Yeah, true, but he won 4 rings, so it's all good, right? So he's using that winning bias, right? He's using that winning bias to put Steph Curry ahead. But you can't do that, bro. You just focus on the game, focus on the impact, and focus on these guys' skill set, and their impact to winning. That's all that matters, in my opinion. I just seen Dame's comments on Jeff Teague podcast. Oh, what did he say? Because I ain't I didn't see that. I gotta go check that out. But yeah, let me just finish with this real quick. But so we broke down his scoring. He's able to get to the basket, score very, very efficiently as well. I think he had a 61 true shooting percentage. So he had his most efficient season as a scorer last year. So he scored the ball very, very efficiently, and he led the league in scoring. So big shout out to him. And his playmaking, one of the best passers in the league, one of the best playmakers in the league. I mean, some of the passes that he makes, there's no pass on the floor that he's not capable of making. Skip passes, bounce passes, a hook pass, a wraparound pass, like whatever pass you need him to make, behind the back pass, no look pass, any pass you need, Luka Doncic can deliver those passes. And sometimes when he drives, he puts a lot of pressure, not on his primary defender, but, the guy who's the last line of defense, or the guy who's in the weak side corner. He puts you in a spot where you have to either tag the roller and leave your guy in the corner, or you have to stick to the guy in the corner and just leave the roll man to get to the basket. So those are things that, those are the kind of pressure that Luka can put on defenses. And, he's able to break down defenses, and he's not even that quick, as a playmaker, as a scorer. He can get in the post, punish mismatches, just like SGA, right? He's much bigger, much stronger. So that, along with his size, he's able to use his physical attributes to his advantage. So that's one of his attributes. Now, his weakness, defense. Yeah, definitely defense, right? Defense is his weakness. But I think we should give him credit for his rebounding ability, right? He's able to rebound at a very, very high clip for a guard, right? At 6'7". I mean, not every 6'7" dude is giving you 8-7 rebounds, right? So we're not going to play that game. We're not going to play that game, right? Davis Bertans is 6'10", and he's barely averaging 3 rebounds. Now, yeah, he's not playing as many minutes, but you get the point that I'm trying to make. Even if he's playing that minutes, he's not going to give you that many rebounds. So I think we should give Luka credit for that side of the ball, So his ability to score, his ability to rebound, and his playmaking ability, I think people have to give him credit for that. Now, I'm not, because he got to the, I'm not going to give him credit for getting to the finals, because, it doesn't really matter to me. But, his overall impact on the game, I mean, Kyrie missed some games for the Dallas Mavericks, and he was still able to keep their heads above water. They won 50 games in the regular season, and then in the playoffs, he used his his ability. He didn't really score the ball at an efficient clip, but his playmaking was still great, right? He was able to find easy shots for guys, and guys, I mean, defenses have to pay attention to him because he's still a threat, right? But he didn't really have his most efficient scoring production in the playoffs. So I think that was that was a weakness. Now another weakness, and BJ just probably read my mind. Curry not a threat at his age anymore. He is, but his impact is not the same as a Luka or as a SGA. Stop it. Stop it. Yeah. I was about to say that, BJ. Appreciate you for bringing that up. People don't give him credit for his consistency, right? And consistency was a part of my criteria, right? So a lot of guys who some guys who didn't make it. I mean, ask yourself, are they that consistent? So yeah, but I think Luka has to be a much better shot creator as well. I mean, not a shot creator, but his shot selection has to be better. Sometimes you take two dribbles, from half court and just shoot it, right? When he could have just, worked the clock a little bit more and got a high percentage shot, right? So that's another weakness. Defense is his weakness, obviously, even though he's giving you defensive rebounds. But on ball defense is trash, right? We saw him get blow by multiple times. So that's something that he has to get better at. Now, can he get better at it? I don't know because he's in year 6. He's going into year 7. I mean, most of the time, the caliber of player that you are in year 7, that's the kind of player you're going to be for the rest of your career, right? And also, he's a very very ball dominant guard. So we definitely have to see him what he can bring to a team, um, what value he has off the ball. And we don't really see him. We don't really see a lot of off. A lot of catch. We don't really see catch and shoot him shooting catch and him having catch and shoot threes. We don't see him coming off screens like that. Just very 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 minimal for the most part. It's him creating his own offense or creating offense for others. We don't see other guys create offense for him like that. So now Kyrie does some shot creation for him sometimes, but it's not as much. So I think that's another thing that we need to see from him. His off ball ability, right? We need to see that from him. But I still think Luka's the best point guard in the league. His scoring production, right? Production overall, his impact on the game, his consistency, his versatility, his basketball IQ, and his overall skill set, right? That's my criteria right there. And that's my top 10 point guards in the league right now, right? Luka number 1, SGA number 2, Steph Curry number 3, Jalen Brunson number 4, Tyrese Haliburton number 5, De'Aaron Fox number 6, Damian Lillard number 7, Trae Young number 8, Tyrese Maxey number 9, and John Morant number 10. Now nobody can tell me I'm being biased, because if I'm being biased, I wouldn't put Maxey number 9. I probably would have had Maxey number 10, but John Morant didn't play enough games. So I had to use that. Guys play, 60 plus games, right? Most of these guys play 60 plus games. So I had to give them, credit for that. Now it's not John Morant's fault. I mean, he got hurt and then he was suspended. So yeah. I had Darius Garland as an honorable mention, right? I mean, you're not gonna deny that he didn't really have a good season last year, right? You He got hurt, he hurt his ball, whatever. He lost a lot of weight, and he wasn't really that effective, wasn't really consistent. The skill set was there, but he did get overwhelmed by defenses a lot. Got vulnerable to defenses a lot, and you didn't really see his impact that much, especially when Donovan Mitchell was not playing. Right, you didn't really see it as much. You saw it in a few games here or there, like the game that y'all had against us. Right, you saw his value, but in other games, I can point out to other games where that value was not there. That consistency wasn't there, and you got to knock him for it. You got to knock him for it. But yeah, he's an honorable mention. Darius Garland is definitely an honorable mention. Yeah, I had Darius Garland, Drew Holiday as a honorable mention. James Harden honorable mention, Jamal Murray honorable mention. So yeah, and I feel sorry for Jamal Murray because he had a terrible outing in the Olympics. Right? I mean, it's not easy. Well, you don't have Jokic on the floor. I mean, you've been playing with Jokic for your whole career, and then go to another situation and he's not there, and it makes it a little bit difficult for you. So yeah. But Darius Garland can definitely get in the list or on the list. Yeah, we need to see him more consistent, right? He has the skill set, right? The skill set is there. In my opinion, one of the best handles, right? I think we need to see more consistency from him, right? He needs to be consistent. Um, he can play off the ball. He can play on the ball. His defense has. I mean, he's 6'1", so the only value, most of the value he can give you is playing in the passing lanes. But as a on ball defender, you always got to send help, right? You always got to send help because teams are going to target him, and teams will definitely go at him every single time. Said I got to send you the clip that True said about Jamal. Yeah, I think I did. I hear it? Nah, I don't think so. Nah, nah, I don't think I did. Yeah, smash the like button as y'all come in. Um, yeah, I mean, True. Man, I be calling him True the Cap. He always capping, so I call him True the Cap. But yeah, that's my top 10. I mean, I don't know if y'all have any pushbacks. I mean, Tuna Sports, you got any pushbacks? I mean, I don't have Curry number one. I don't have Curry number one. I have Curry number 3 on my list. Um, I mean, I know a lot of y'all gonna rank him based off of reputation. And Tuna Sports, you just said 4 championships. So you just started off with that winning bias. So I don't know if your criteria is gonna be consistent. I just don't know, man. I don't know. But if you start off with that winning bias, I can see where you're going with this. But yeah, I mean, Steph Curry, I mean, he's definitely valuable to the Warriors, but I think inconsistencies in the lineup, players being inconsistent, that really hurt the Golden State Warriors' chances. But he still made the all NBA team, right? And I really take that. I really value making the all NBA teams. So even though the media votes for it, but I mean, sometimes if you watch these games, you can tell who is deserving of making all NBA and who's not. So yeah, but yeah, that's my point guard list. Um, I think in the very I'm gonna do my shooting guards, my small forwards, power forwards, uh, small forwards, power forwards. He said is that Curry's fault. But Curry did get vulnerable to defenses though. I don't know if you watch games, certain games where they were forcing him to be a playmaker, and a lot of turnovers, some costly turnovers. And he wasn't that great defensively. So yeah, it's not his fault, but in certain games, right, he didn't elevate to the level that I expected him to. So yeah, and these guys they did. These guys won 50 plus. So yeah, it's not Curry's fault, but you get what I mean. But yeah, my shooting guard I list. Yeah, y'all should definitely y'all should definitely wait for that. And Tuna Sports, I know you going. I will make sure I have you in tears after I drop that shooting guard list. Oh my goodness, yeah. But yeah. I mean, I don't know if you. I mean, Tuna Sports, you got any pushback on my list? I mean, do you feel like I'm not being consistent? Is there somewhere where I'm not being consistent at? Just let me know. Oh, I mean, I could. I mean, I don't have much time, so I got to shut this down anyway. So, uh, yeah, yeah. Honorable mentions. Yeah, Jamal Murray, and I really like Jamal Murray. Right. I mean, if you have that's something that Jokic has that Embiid did not have in the past. I mean, you have a player who can average 30 in the playoffs and give you 30-point triple doubles and shit like that. I mean, that's very very huge. So yeah. Now yeah, Jokic is better than Embiid, right? Yeah, he is. I'll give y'all that. I'll give y'all punks that. Yeah. And Tunis Sports, I didn't forget you was hyping up Jokic again, and he came up blew a double-digit lead, just like he did in the conference semifinals. But yeah, I don't think anybody got pushback on my list. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, my list is pretty consistent. He says I don't agree with your list completely. Tyrese is too high. Haliburton or Mac? Okay, I think you're talking about Haliburton. I think Hallie. So the thing is, Tyrese Haliburton was on the team. I mean, they had the best offense, right? And his skill set, right, contributed um the Indiana Pacers playing fast and having the highest pace, having the best offense in the league, and his playmaking ability. He able to find guys in transition, guys able to find open shooters, dish out to open shooters. His ability to get to the basket, his creativity. He makes some good timely passes, and sometimes he doesn't really force the issue like that, right? He doesn't really force the issue, and he'll pass up a good shot for a great shot at any point, right? He led the league in assists with least turnovers, right? So his assist to turnover ratio was very, very, very his assist to turnover ratio was very, very very, very impressive. He says winning bias. Yeah, not recency bias. No, it's not recency bias. I mean, we saw Tyrese Haliburton do that the year prior, right? We saw him in terms of his playmaking ability. Some of the passes that he was delivering was at a high clip, and along with his ability to score the basketball. Now, as a shooter, he's very, very efficient. Now, I know the form doesn't look that great, right? It is very, very weird, but the shots do be dropping. So I think that's what matters. He says stat pad. Oh my god, it's not stat pad. It's looking at the stats and looking at the overall skill set as well, right? Looking at the skill set as well and how he makes. I mean, y'all. Most of y'all arguments is a player's ability to make other players better. So if we're using that logic, then you got to give Tyrese credit for his ability to make guys better, his ability to find guys, find them easy shots, wide open looks, and these guys are able to capitalize like easy scoring opportunities, right? Because they play fast, they get out and get out. They get out often. And one thing I need from him is to be a much better rebounder, right? Because he's a grab and go guy himself. So if he can, be a good rebounder, they're gonna get wide. They're gonna get much easier scoring opportunities in the very near future. So, but people hate on Russ. People don't hate on Russ. I mean, when he went to the Lakers, that's when his flaws. People highlighted on his flaws. They put a spotlight on his flaws, which he had those same flaws in Oklahoma City, but people didn't realize it because people weren't really focusing on him. They just looked at the triple doubles and. But I mean, when he got to the Lakers, I mean, he had a very consistent mid range jumper in Oklahoma City, but he got to the Lakers, and I don't know where that it just disappeared. And his free throw shooting went all the way down. Russ at his best was shooting like 83, 84% from the free throw line. And then nowadays he's shooting like 63, 64, 65%. So you question like what happened? Right? What happened? And sometimes he tries to play fast to get his quick points, and he ends up having racking up a lot of turnovers. Now he was doing the same thing in Oklahoma, but again, those were not really highlighted, right? He'll have a triple double, but have 7 turnovers, 6 turnovers, 8 turnovers, right? That season, that was the highest usage rate that anybody has had in NBA history. Russell Westbrook's usage rate in 2016, 2017 is the highest usage rate in NBA history. So he needs the ball in his hands. He needs to make plays. He has to get to the basket. He's very, very good around the rim. So, but as a shooter, yeah, as a 3-point shooter, he's not really good. But in the mid range, he was better. I mean, in terms of when they were saying he was stat padding, which he kind of was, but he still was great with them triple doubles. Yeah, bro. You give Jokic all the credit in the world, he be stat padding too. So what are you talking about? Jokic does the same shit. I mean, every player at some point you might end up stat padding. So I mean, that's production. I mean, I don't knock them for it. I don't knock them for it. So yeah, but I mean, I think Tyrese Haliburton. I mean, I'm not just putting him there because of what happened just last season. I mean, it started in the 22-23 season. Now he got hurt, so he didn't really play enough games. So we didn't really see it fully. Now, last season he played much more games than he did the year prior, and I mean, played good, elevated his game. The Pacers are a top 6 seed, right? And then into the playoffs, elevated his game again, right? He elevated his game again in the playoffs, and then they go all the way to the what you call it, the Western Conference Finals. I mean Eastern Conference Finals. Now I don't want to hear injuries. I don't want to hear injuries because other teams benefited from guys being hurt. So I don't want to hear injuries. And don't give me the Knicks were hurt. The only guys on the Knicks that were hurt was only 3 players: Bogdanovich, OG, Randall. I don't want to hear Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart. They were not hurt. They faked injuries to give them an excuse. I believe that they faked injuries. They was not hurt. Just like LeBron James, with the cast on his hand, put it on the table, and he didn't say nothing. He knew what he was doing, right? So these guys faked injuries. I don't want to hear it. For me, when I'm ranking, I need guys to be consistent too. Yes, and Tyrese Haliburton was consistent throughout the season and the season prior. Darius Garland was not consistent. Haliburton was much more consistent than Darius Garland. Oh, okay. But I mean, if you use that consistency logic, then Damian Lillard is not top 5 then. So you're talking yourself into a trap. If you're using consistency, Damian Lillard is out your top 5 because other guys were much more consistent than he was. Yeah, I see. And yeah, that's showing that you're not being biased, right? The same way I had Maxey number 9. And I'm hearing some Sixer fans saying he's top 5. I'm like, cut it out. He's not top 5. But yeah, if you're using I mean, I don't know how high or how low consistency is, but if you're using consistency, then Damian Lillard should be off your top 5. Right. So, but I mean, I think Dame, I mean, it was like I said, in my reasons, like a change of scenery for him. I mean, he's playing on a team or in a system that's not built for him. That was probably that was his first time ever, or his first time in a while that he was playing on a team and the offense is not really focused on him. I mean, you have Giannis is a what you call it? Giannis is in his prime, right? Giannis is in his prime, giving you 30. So that's Giannis's team. So that offense built around him. That's not an offense that Dame is going to really thrive in. So Dame really needs the offense revolving around him bringing the ball up the floor, shot creating, doing dances, pulling up from 25 plus feet. Like that's Dame, right? So with Giannis over there, that's not really helping him that much. But I think he's gonna use last season he's gonna learn from last season, and this upcoming season he's gonna be much better. He in my top 10. I got to think about it, but we know Dame wasn't himself and still put up good numbers playing along Giannis. Right. That's why I put him at number 7. Right. That's top 10. That's still respectable, bro. That is still top 10, bro. It's not disrespectful. Now Bruce said he's not even top 10. Now Bruce is not the biggest Dame fan, so we get it. Right. So we get it. But I mean, he's still top 10 on my list. Right. That's what I'm doing. I think year 2 is going to be much better than year 1, even though he made the All-Star team and he played much games than he played in previous years. I think he played like 73, 74 games. So he was healthy for the most part. But the 3-pointers, what he thrives at, that was not really good for him. The percentage was not good. So yeah. Said Dame's backup point guard was Pat Bev. Hey, shout out to Pat Bev, man. Shout out to Pat Bev. I mean, when he was playing for us, man, he used to pull up to West Philly. some of the most dangerous parts in West Philly. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't even go there, but you know, yeah, shout out to him. He's in Israel right now, so he'll probably listen. Pat Bev is gonna make the Hall of Fame. I know y'all gonna call me crazy, but go look at Pat Bev's resume. His overseas resume is gonna get him in the Hall of Fame. He's been a Euro Cup MVP in Greece and all these other countries. Like, yo, his accomplishments outside the NBA might get him in the Hall of Fame, because the Hall of Fame is not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's a Pro Basketball Hall of Fame. Along with him averaging 38 points in high school, he'll probably make the Hall of Fame. So that would mean that the Clippers in 2019, 2020, that was a super team, because you had 3 Hall of Famers on that team. No, I'm just trolling, but I mean, he might make the Hall of Fame, because I looked up his resume. I couldn't even believe. I was like, whoa. Yeah, so y'all should look up his resume. A whole lot of MVPs and scoring titles, and some good accomplishments, right? Accomplishments that some past NBA players don't even have. You just mad because Dame sent your boy home. Bro, that was 5 years ago, and okay, what did he do after that? He didn't do anything. So, and Steph Curry walked him down. Steph Curry walked him down. And I don't want to hear, that was a super team, Golden State, because KD was hurt. So, yeah. Pat before Blake Griffin, Hall of. Now, I'm saying that because, bro, just look at his accomplishments. Just go look him up. Go look at his accomplishments, bro. He has all sorts of MVPs and scoring titles, and from the from overseas, right? I'm just talking about his accomplishments overseas. He had bruised ribs, and the Warriors were a super team, but PG wasn't hurt, because PG was dealing with 2 shoulder injuries in that playoffs, but you don't know about it. You probably know about it, but you don't care, right? But you see, I didn't even bring that up though. When you brought up Dame sending PG home, I didn't even bring that up. But yeah, nah, that Warriors, it was not a super team, because KD was hurt. KD was hurt. Durant didn't play in that series, so stop it. Now, if you're calling Dre, Clay, and Steph Curry a super team, then okay, that's fine. Man, get out of here, bro. You're DeMarcus Cousins. Bro, that was the first time he was ever in the playoffs. That was the first time DeMarcus Cousins was ever in the playoffs. So that don't really count. And he was coming off an Achilles injury, because was it his ACL? Yeah, his Achilles. Right, he tore his Achilles, in New Orleans. So he was coming off an Achilles tear. So that's not really going to count. Will DeMarcus Cousins make the Hall of Fame? I don't know. But he was an all-star caliber. I mean, he was a perennial all-star at that point. But I mean, he wasn't on the same level, because he didn't even play that much. Nah, not in Golden State, bro. Stop it. He didn't even play that full finals run, that full playoff run. He didn't really play that much. Stop it, bro. I know you don't like Golden State, because I mean, Golden State whipped on your Cavs all those years, right? So I get it, but you don't have to lie. Right, he did play his role, which was a limited role. It was a limited role. He didn't play that much. I'm not denigrating him as a player, but he wasn't the same. He tore his Achilles. He's coming off injury. I bet you he wasn't even averaging double figures. I'm not looking at the stats, but I don't think he was averaging double figures. So yeah, smash the like button if y'all haven't. I got to get up out of here. My list is consistent. Now put your feelings aside, right, and look at my criteria. That's the issue that a lot of people have, right? I can come up with a list, and people try to judge it based on their feelings, and because of their feelings, Your list don't make any sense. But is my criteria making sense? Is my criteria consistent? That's what matters, right? That's why somebody was telling me, how the hell are there 450 plus players in the NBA and there's only what you call it, there's only 6 superstars. I mean, the same way as millions of people in America, there's only a few millionaires in the country, right? Those guys have worked hard to get to that status. The same logic applies to the NBA. Those few guys have worked to earn that superstar status, and my according to my criteria. So yeah. Humble says Golden State. What the hell? Said Golden State and they didn't whoop us. They had KD. They added KD. I mean, yeah, they did. I mean, they added 30 points per game to that unit. But I think Cleveland still had a chance in 2017. And KD outplayed your king, right? He outplayed y'all king. And I mean, yeah, LeBron averaged like what, a triple double in the finals, the first player ever, right? So you give him credit, but what KD did offensively was just too much. Averaging 30 on 50, 40, 90 splits, shit. You can't beat that, bro. Y'all had no answer for him offensively. Zero answers for him. So yeah. But yeah, I think this will bring it to an end, bro. Tired of shit. Go take a shower, go get something to eat. And yeah. But I'm gonna come out with my shooting guard, my top shooting guard, top 10 shooting guards. I know Humble, Tuna Sports, I know I'm gonna piss y'all off with my list. My criteria is gonna be the same as the point guards list, right? And yeah, we'll see where I have Donovan Mitchell at, man. Man, I'm just messing with y'all. I'm just messing with y'all. We ran it back with the same roster. Everyone knew it was over for any team other than the Cavs versus the Warriors. I mean, yeah, because the East was weak, right? The East was weak. Y'all swept the Raptors, swept the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, the Indiana Pacers. I mean, the East is weak if you're sweeping all these teams. Nah, I ain't gonna be disrespectful, bro. Nah. KD wanted to be a part of that history. I mean, yeah, that's true. And he made the smartest decision ever. I mean, I would have made that same decision too. But yeah. But I mean, that Cavs team, yeah, they were definitely gonna beat the Warriors the next year had KD not joined that team. If the Warriors got to the, I don't think Golden State would have gotten to the finals again if they didn't have KD. I don't think so. Because I mean, yeah, I think a lot of things have to fall in their place. I mean, Kawhi Leonard gets hurt the next season. I mean, he was killing Golden State's defense. So, he was destroying that defense. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lot of what ifs. But Warriors wasn't beating us. That's why they bagged for KD. Yeah, I mean, that's. I mean, is that? Can we say it's true? Because I mean, they were up 3-1 before they added KD, and then Draymond gets suspended, Bogut gets hurt. I mean, do y'all really beat them again? I don't know. KD sold out. His own brand plummeted. Dudes wasn't trying to wear KD kicks anymore after he switched up on Russ. How you switch up on Russ? Nobody can win with Russ. I mean, KD's playing with Russ, and Russ is taking more shots than KD. Get out of here, bro. You can't win with Russell Westbrook. But yeah, I'm gonna end it right here. Yeah, it was great that y'all pulled up. Great conversation. Then my top 5, I mean my top 10 point guard list. What made me do this list was, Sixer fans saying that Tyrese Maxey was a top 5 point guard, and I had to, no, 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 we not doing that, right? We not doing that. So yeah, I had to put everything in place. Maxey's number 9 on my list. If you disagree, that's fine, but let me hear your criteria, and then I can debate your criteria and see if you're being consistent or not. But yeah, that's my list. Appreciate each and every person for tuning in. Bruce, Tune In Sports, Humble. the Pull Up Basketball Podcast. My guy Casual, y'all should check out his channel, A Casual Connection. Right, he has some good interviews on there with some of the best YouTube personalities. So y'all should definitely check out his channel. Cavs broke them in. Oh, Cavs broke them mentally. I was about to say mentality. Bro, Bogut got hurt. Draymond got suspended. Come on, bro. If they didn't get suspended or hurt, they beat you on 5. They get you up out of there in 5. Media made Kyrie get in his head. Yeah, Kyrie was he was on another. Yeah, Kyrie's. He's a no comment. No comment. I mean, yeah. Shout out to Kyrie though. I mean, let's see if he makes my top 10 shooting guards in the NBA. We'll see. But yeah, appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Don't pull the Thomas. Nah, Kyrie's definitely. I mean, he definitely gonna make that. He definitely gonna make the list. LeBron went to the finals with a 5'9" starting point guard in Isaiah Thomas. Now they traded Isaiah that trade deadline. They got him up out of there. They traded for George Hill. Bro, how you don't know your own team? Humble. Come on, bro. Nah, it's all games, bro. Yeah, but yeah, I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.